I just choked on coffee, so I guess it's time for us to start. Hello, welcome back to the Lochknits knitting podcast. My name is Haley. I'm a tattooer. Oh my god, I'm so sorry. And crafter, knitter, quilter, whatever you want to call it, from Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania in the United States. I'm coming to you on an incredibly gloomy last day of January, or is today the 30th? I don't know what day it is. It's the end of January. I'm choking on coffee. I am so sorry. Yes, welcome back. This is the Lochknits knitting podcast. This is episode 10, which is super exciting. We're in double digits now. I have with me, as I introduced on the last episode, Chicken Darling. Here she is. I want to personally thank each and every one of you who gave Chicken Darling all the love on the last episode. One of the most important things that I want to highlight is that for the first time in my life, I have received fan art of Chicken Darling. I will put it on the screen now. I want to thank Lindsay from @SimplyServingHK. Lindsay made this incredible fan art of Chicken Darling. Lindsay also makes very cute, very tiny stitch markers. 100% would recommend checking her shop out, but I just seriously lost it. Like, I got in my Instagram DMs and there's this beautiful rendition of like my best gal here. I just like could not get over it. It was so sweet. She has sort of an essence about her. I mean, just look at her. Oh, she's a real honey. Thank you, Lindsay. Thank you to everyone who really recognized and honored Chicken Darling's true beauty on the last episode. I'm happy that she's back joining me today, and I am not gonna lie, I've been thinking a little bit about how we can get her into some knitwear of her very own, so stay tuned for that. I said on the last episode that I was going to film another episode, or episode 10, before we went to Vogue Knitting Live in New York City. That was obviously a lie. That didn't happen. A lot of the stash acquisitions that I wanted to share with you that came from the Moon and Yarn craft room, I thought would fit very nicely with what I got from Vogue Knitting Live. So just off the top here, this is going to be like 100% stash video, and I know that's not everybody's bag, so if you're not interested in looking at my purchases, I completely get it, and we'll catch you on episode 11. If you are like me and you're chronically nebby, stick around because this episode is perfect for you. Before I get into everything that I got from the Moon and Yarn craft room earlier in January and everything that I got at Vogue Knitting Live this past weekend in New York City, I do want to just throw out there that it was my birthday, so that's why a lot of this, if it seems very gluttonous or like, wow, that's kind of a lot of stuff, it was my birthday. I turned 30, flirty and thriving. I don't typically feel like a lot of guilt about purchases that I bring into my life, but I also don't want the internet to try to make me feel guilty either. So I'm just putting that out there, that this is not like normal for me, but also if it were, I don't care. One of the birthday presents that I got that I wanted to share is actually not knitting related, but it is a craft. Very impressive craft, I do have to say. This weekend's trip, when we went to Vogue Knitting Live, I went with Sock, Brienne, and Gail. So you guys have heard me talk about Sock and Brienne, and obviously like we've hosted podcasts together before, but who you don't get to experience a lot is Gail. And Gail is like my childhood friend. We went to the same school together. We worked at the same amusement park for like most of our childhood, and we've just been able to stay friends miraculously to this point in our lives, which is really great. She does all kinds of crafting. She's primarily a seamstress, but equal parts knitter, crocheter as well. And one of the other crafts that she's started to dive into is fake cakes. And if you don't know what a fake cake is, it is just an object, whether it's like a decoration piece or like a functional object that is designed to look like a fake cake. And also, just from the jump, like, she's not selling these, she doesn't sell them. I will say there's a lot of sellers on Etsy. If you just search fake cake, you can get things that are similar to this, but I'm all for like not monetizing every single aspect of your life, and this is truly just something Gail does for fun. But let me show you, without further ado, what I received for my birthday from Gail. Like, shut up. This is a tissue box cover, if you can even believe it. Gail is just I don't know what to say. I don't know how to describe it. Like, this is the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. And my camera, of course, is like blocking all the lighting and everything. I'll try to get as close as I can, but I just totally lost it like when she unveiled this beautiful monstrosity. The bottom is actually like a plastic sliding piece that will slide out from underneath. You put the tissue box inside and then pull the tissues out from the top. These are all fake citrus and fruit pieces that Gail just had lying around because it's like a normal thing, I guess, that some people have in their homes. It's speechless, absolutely speechless. This is like the most beautiful object that I own, next to like maybe my handcrafted spinning wheel. I knew she was making these. I didn't, you know what I mean? Like, you can't know, you can't picture like this when someone says like, oh, I'm trying out this new craft. Like, get out of here. So this is glorious. I want to use it as an art piece. I don't want to put tissues in it. I just love it. I love it so much. I want to try to figure out a way that like perhaps I can keep it back there. I do have to get a box of tissues for it, just so people don't think that like I keep a cake behind me on the shelf. Gail, thank you. This is bonkers. I'm truly speechless. Absolutely gorgeous. Again, with the fact that like a lot of this is stashed today, I've gotten many requests to make a video of me organizing my stash, which is something I've brought up. It's not like people are just soliciting this content from me like out of nowhere. I have said on the podcast a bunch of times that I desperately need to reorganize how my yarn, fabric stash, like everything is currently set up kind of in my life. So my thought process and my goal is to share this on the podcast, and after I've gone through everything that I recently acquired and brought into my stash, then maybe the next video can be a little discussion or a clip or just kind of like a walkthrough of how I'm going to organize it. Jury's still out on how that's gonna happen. I'm not quite sure yet. I have some like pieces in my mind of like where I want things to end up, but like when it comes down to the actual like organization part, I'm just not, the details aren't all hashed out yet. That's something that I would like to take time to do next time. Definitely needs to happen. I have stuff coming out of everywhere, which I'm sure you can tell. Don't look behind me. Look at the chicken. Don't look at my stuff back here. Let me just get into the yarn content. If you guys have watched maybe episode 9, maybe episode 8 or 9, on one of those episodes, I mentioned that I recently went back to Pittsburgh this month of January 2024. Went back to Pittsburgh and did a guest spot at a tattoo shop, so I worked a couple days. Then I did a trunk show at Brienne's shop, which is the Moon and Yarn craft room. And while I was at the Moon and Yarn craft room, I did a little shopping. It helped too that I was like working, so there was like income coming in, and then at the end of my time at the craft room, I said, I'll just pick a few things up. Let me get my big crinkly pink bag here from the craft room, and let's dive into what I got while I was at Bree's yarn store. Everything that I'm about to show you is stuff that recently came from the craft room, so if you are looking for any of these things or, you know, similar products or fibers or whatever, definitely hit up the craft room, go to the craft room. If you haven't been there yet, it's like a spiritual experience, and I would highly recommend. It is in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, in the north part of the city. It's great. Everything's linked below. Check her out, give her a follow, and all that good stuff. I got this gorgeous spinning fiber from Brienne's shop. This is the Fiber Genie. Again, all of these like dyers and everything, it's all in the description box below. I won't say it again. It's a petite roving braid, so I'm, without like tearing into it and everything, I'm gonna assume it's a 2-ounce braid. Usually like full size braids are 4 ounces. You can see I've got some back there in my little cat basket. This is a 2-ounce question mark braid that I got. I just love it. I've been collecting a lot of braids here. I'm gonna like pretend that I've been collecting them with a purpose, but the reality is like I just tend to gravitate towards a lot of the same color stories, a lot of like pink, vibrant sort of situations. But in the last couple of months, I've been listening to Andrea Mallory's podcast, I'll Knit If I Want To, and Andrea does a lot of combo spinning, and the spins that you're seeing that she's knitting these giant like shawls and cowls and sweaters out of and everything are combo spins. If you're looking for more info on that, I love her podcast. She's very consistent with it. She like answers a lot of questions. It's very informative and I like truly learn a lot from her. She talks a lot about combo spinning, which is basically the nuts and bolts of it are like strategically picking braids that have similar colors or color stories and then splitting them apart, spinning them sort of randomly and then plying them together. This all sounds really like, I'm sure this doesn't make any sense. It makes more sense when she explains it, but basically blending different braids together and using the colors that are in each of them to sort of like blend together as like one cohesive skein. I will say that it is nice to have a like petite braid option. So this is not, like I said, a full 4-ounce braid. And I think that's nice, especially thinking about a combo spin. I'm gonna have pieces and parts of different braids that are going to be like very long stretches of color. This will be nice to add in shorter kind of blips, if that makes any sense. It's just nice to have varying sizes. But yeah, Fiber Genie, love it. Oh, so pretty. The next thing I got is very small, but I do want to share about it because I've always been interested in products like these and I haven't gotten one. It just hasn't been like right place, right time, right smell, I guess. But I found Brie carries these Tuft Woolens little, they're almost kind of like balms. It's like a lotion bar, basically. You can like roll it up. It kind of looks like a stick of deodorant, honestly. I'm smelling it like you can smell it. Oh my God. This is the Plum and Amber scent. It's got the purple label on it. Basically, you just like roll up this little stick and just kind of like rub it on your hands. I've seen people do like just the tops of their hands. I've seen people do like on their palms and everything. I'm gonna put this on now and just, I really want this to be like a habit. Obviously, it's good for your hands. It's kind of lotiony, you know, it's like pleasantly greasy. I wouldn't say it's like something that sticks a long time, but it does have like sort of a greasy feel to it. The idea with this is that like if you put it on your hands and you're knitting and crafting and everything, like the smell sort of infuses with the yarn and I really like that. I like that concept. I'm a big like smelly good lady. I love like candles and different like scents and stuff, but I'm not very big into perfume. I'm always more drawn to like chapsticks, lotions, things like that. So I've wanted one of these for a while, but some of the scents just didn't line up for me. But this is seriously like so good. It smells very obviously plummy, but like kind of florally, but not in like a strong overpowering way. So Brie just has these right at her checkout. They're adorable. I'm very excited to use this, see if I can, like I said, like get into a habit with it. That would be pretty nice just because I love the concept. I love how this is supposed to work. I actually got sweater's quantity of yarn, which is big. Like I don't typically go in for a sweater's quantity of yarn that often, like maybe once or twice a year if the opportunity presents itself, but it's definitely not like a purchase I'm gonna make with no plan in mind. I'm way more apt to buy single skeins, which I know is like not everybody's jam, but I do love a good single skein. But for this trip, I really wanted to find a sweater's quantity of yarn at Brie's shop, which is incredibly easy. You could go in there and get a sweater's quantity of so much. Like she's very well stocked on a lot of different yarns and like fiber types. I knew that I could find it. I just wanted to get something like very special from the craft room. So I got some super duper red yarn. I got 2 skeins of Ruby and Roses. This is the soft rose. It's 8515 superwash merino nylon, 437 yards. And then I also got to hold with it the Amano Baby Surrey Super Kid Mohair and Mulberry Silk blend. This is, oh, it's by Amano Yarns and it's the Uma yarn. Let me see if I can get this to focus. Yeah, there it is. So like this is delicious. I'm having a moment. Just haven't like pulled these out of the bag since I brought them home. We went back and forth. I had a few different like options for the Ruby and Roses yarn that I was choosing between, and I went with this like really hot saucy red and I just love it. I love it so much. I'm very excited to have something so different in my wardrobe. I have a lot of more like pink leaning sweaters, a couple black sweaters too. So something like this, vibrant and like fun and everything, I'm really stoked on. So I only needed 2 skeins of this, and then I think I have 4 skeins of the Amano. These ones have a lot less yardage. So these are 230 yards each. This is 437. So all this to say, I got this sweater quantity to make the Wilfreda sweater. I do not know if I'm saying that right, but I will put a picture of it here, like the Ravelry listing, so you can take a look at it. It has Love Note energy with like no lace portion. So instead of the lace, there's like a beautiful cabled section around the yoke. It's just like a simple little twist with some like frilly doos. It's just really cute. And I thought that it could give me the same like good feelings as the Love Note and just like a slightly different interpretation. And I plan on making this cropped, which like all of my sweaters are cropped, but with like a true long sleeve. So the Love Note that I have, I actually have no idea if I've worn it on this podcast yet or not. It's by far the most worn sweater that I have in my wardrobe, like hands down. But it does have the lace portion across the yoke and then also 3/4 length sleeves. So my vision for this is like an equally fluffy, open gauge, loosey-goosey sweater, but just with longer sleeves, no lace portion, but same like cut and style. And like I said, if you are familiar with the Love Note and you look at like the picture of the Wilfreda like pattern photos, you can see how they're similar energy. I really do well with like a rounded yoke situation and just kind of like a cropped fit. That's my plan for these. I'm obsessed. I love them. And I can't wait. That's what I got from Brienne's shop. And then from Brienne personally, I wanna throw out these ridiculous gifts that she got me for Christmas. Hadn't seen her since Christmas had already happened and everything, but she gave me Chicken Darling. So #1 Christmas gift in the world. She also gifted me this, this little goose pouch. Oh, like I said, this stuff has been kind of like in my stash, just waiting to be talked about on the podcast, and I can't wait to actually use this now. It's just like a sweet little pouch. I just love it. It's so cute. She also knitted me this super cutie pie hat. This is, I think, Dye Mad Yarns, I'm pretty sure. I'm not 100% though, so like don't quote me on that. It's very cute. Fold up, flip down, do whatever. Oh, we just love it. It's like got this mint and pink color story here. Just so cute. She is so sweet. Brienne is like by far one of the best gift givers I've ever known. She just nails it like every time. And then the last thing I have to say, this is like not a Christmas gift. This is not something I bought from her store. This is just like a gift from the kindness of Brienne's heart. So we were sitting on Brienne's couch watching some knitting podcasts at the end of the night of one of the evenings that I was staying with her earlier in the month. We were thinking about like, what is some stuff that you want to get when we're at Vogue Knitting Live later in January? And I said, I honestly like am on the lookout for mini skeins. I had an advent. Yeah, I had an advent from like 2 years ago. People tend to like give me their mini skeins and everything because I use a lot of them. Whenever people say I don't know what to do with mini skeins, like I do not relate with that. I feel like mini skeins are very inspiring to me. I love like scrappy, crazy projects and everything. And I also knit a lot of like afterthought heels, toes, cuffs and stuff like that. So mini skeins definitely get used in my stash for sure. And I was talking to her about how like I actively need to like seek out more mini skeins because the stash is just getting depleted. And Brienne said, oh, wait here, I'll be back. This crazy lady gave me an entire advent of mini skeins. It was just one of those things that like she got the advent, she loved the advent, like opening it, obviously like the experience was so fun, but just at the end of the day, like the colors were not her jam. And like I totally get it looking at these colorways, like they read as a little dark and like kind of moody and like watercolory, where Brienne is like a ray of sunshine, and like I understand. Lucky me, I got all of these like beautiful mini skeins. This was a Superfine Yarn Co, I think, advent. Superfine is not dyeing yarn anymore, so this is like something that I don't like, obviously you can't get anyway, it's an advent, but they're just like so beautiful. Oh my god, like they're moody, they're like kind of earthy, sort of jewel tone, but like not really. I just love it. I love them so much. They're so, I can't even open this. They're so pretty. I was wondering about making maybe the Ariana cardigan or like a granny square cardigan situation with that black rainbowy like asphalt yarn. With these, I don't know, something's gonna happen. Something is going to happen. Thank you, Brienne. So this was incredibly generous. Let me dig into Vogue Knitting Live. Okay, let's talk about Vogue Knitting Live. So out of all the like yarn events that we go to, Vogue Knitting Live is the kind of like the last train, pun intended, that we ever jumped on. We're very familiar, and like I feel like a lot of people are familiar with Rhinebeck. We've done lots of fiber festivals in Pittsburgh. We've done Indie Knit and Spin, Pittsburgh Crochet, Knit and Crochet Festival, whatever it's called. We've done like random little like pop-ups. Brie and I would drive to Ohio all the time to visit like yarn stores and events and things like that. Vogue Knitting Live was something that just seemed very unattainable to us because of where it was. So for a really long time, I lived in Pittsburgh, which is in the southwest part of Pennsylvania, and obviously Vogue Knitting Live closest to us is in New York City, so that's pretty far. But since I moved to the other side of the state, up in Northeast PA, New York City is incredibly attainable for us now. So we drive 2 hours to get on a train, take the train from, I don't know, not New York. I don't even know what part of the state we were in, honestly, to like take this train, but we like took a train from some part of New York into the city, got off at Grand Central, and then, you know, you're very close, you're right there. Everything is kind of like a 20-30 minute walk where we stayed, where the hotel was, where the train station is and everything. So since I've moved out here, and of course like Sock lives out here with me too, Vogue Knitting Live just became sort of like more on our radar, and we finally went last year and had a blast. And obviously it was fun enough that we went this year for my birthday. Vogue Knitting Live, if you don't know what it is, which like honestly, I don't blame you. I don't feel like there's nearly as much information out there of like what it is. I think a lot of people think that it's like a fashion show, and it is, but it isn't. You can basically buy tickets to the marketplace portion, which is like any other fiber festival that you're used to. It's just that instead of being held in like a dirt road fairground sort of atmosphere, it's in a hotel in Times Square. We were very fortunate that now that is part of like our round of yarn festivals that we're able to make it to, and that are like physically accessible to us. And there's definitely parts of Vogue Knitting Live that we like really love that are special, and there's parts that are just like not as fun. Honestly, we did decide just kind of as a group that for us it's way more fun to do like the fairground yarn festivals. We all have like our own rain boots that we pretty much only pull out to go to like Maryland Sheep and Wool and Rhinebeck and everything. And there's just something about getting some like dirty old food truck food off the cart and like hanging out with sheep and everything that appeals to us more. But Vogue Knitting Live is like a very beautiful event, and there's a lot of like really wonderful fashion to look at. Obviously it's an excuse to like go to the city. There's just different dyers and fiber vendors and things like that that we typically don't get to see at all these other events. Without further ado, let me dig into what I got. It's not much, honestly. Like, I'm not, like I said, a big let's go crazy at this yarn event sort of shopper. I feel like I definitely tend to make lists like when I go to these events, and if I see something that's on the list, like that's great. If I don't find anything on the list, like I just won't buy it. I'm not gonna like go hard for something just to like try to shoehorn it into a project when I get back home. There was one thing on my list, and I'll explain this later, like when I start to knit it or when I cast it on, because it is going to be in the next couple weeks that I really want to get into it. But I have this beautiful sock blank that my friend Megan, who's Rainbow Cake Cat, dyed. It's a really soft, like buttery kind of gold color. It's yellow, reads as like a golden yellow. And when I got it, I love it. It's gorgeous. The content of the fiber is actually merino silk and not merino nylon. So this is just me, and I know it's fine, and I know I can use it for socks, but like there's silk content in it, and I would really just rather have it for something that's more of like around my neck, or like a shawl, or like a small cowl. Like I'm not sure what it's gonna be, but I knew that I wanted it close up here, not like on my feet. Unfortunately, the like butter yellow color does not look great on my skin at all. I'm way more drawn to like yellows or like the highlighter green situation. I wanted to get a yarn that was equally as luxurious as the merino silk, that I could hold with it and kind of change the color story a little bit. So I found that. I got this from Fiber Stash Dye Works. It is the fuzzy alpaca base. It's 74% baby Surrey alpaca and 26% silk. Obviously this is a color that I really like and I enjoy. So I'm gonna hold this with that sock blank that, honestly, if it weren't like, I see it over there, if it weren't so buried in like my yarn shelf, I would pull it out. I'm sorry, this is probably like really ambiguous conversation, but I just think it's gonna like make a very interesting color combo. And you're probably thinking like, this is highlighter yellow, you're saying butter yellow, like what are you doing? And I have a vision. We're gonna meet the vision. I want like a tiny little shawl or something, I don't know, but I do think that like the deep like golden tones are gonna give this like a lot of depth, and I'm very curious to see how it knits up. Like this could be something I cast on in the next like month or so, but I really just want like a small something for up here. I'm really getting tired of like garment knitting. It's just very like long and arduous. I hate like making sure the fit's right and like doing try-ons and like how can I anticipate how much this is gonna grow, and I just need like a little bit of a gaugeless project, and I thought the fuzzy luxurious yarns held together would just scratch an itch that I have. So this was actually, plot twist, this was the only full skein that I bought from Vogue Knitting Live, but it was worth it. It was exactly what I wanted. Very beautiful. Obviously, like I said, it's a color that I like to wear a lot. Very nice. Also from Fiber Stash Dye Works, I got these 2 mini skeins. I don't have a ton to say about them. I mean, like they're minis, they're cute. This, again, I am just a creature of habit, and like I know I will use this. I tend to gravitate towards this color for like super fun contrast heels toes cuffs. Like I use this on socks. This color I got because I have to force myself to buy yarn in more muted colors. I really like these colors together. I like the more like soft earthy colors next to like something very like bright and crazy. I did some color matching mixing in my granny square blanket, and obviously like everything looks good in a granny square, but the muted color with the highlighter yellow like really did something for me, and I have a few squares of that I like stare at on my couch all the time, and it's just kind of in the back of my mind to buy those muted colors even though they're not super exciting. Like you will use them. I got these also from the same booth. Got 2 other mini skeins from a booth that was the Golden Pearls. They have the cutest booth. Everything is like Golden Girls themed, just like totally adorable. Their merch was precious. I love their logo. Like it's very, very sweet. I just grabbed 2 of these mini skeins just because these colors like really spoke to me. Again, the muted with like the super bright. So this one is more of like a SpongeBob yellow is probably the best way to describe it. And then this is that sage green that I feel like is going around right now. Wandering Flock was at BKL and they had a lot of like this color happening at their booth, which was nice. These just really spoke to me. And this one actually has like a touch of that brown color in it as well. I don't know if this is like even readable or if it's focusing. Yeah, you can see it. Just a touch there. I love stuff like this. Again, I find mini skeins like very inspiring. And I try not to think too hard about the mini skeins that I'm buying because like they come and go in and out of my life so quickly that like I will find a use for it. I will say, I've talked about it on the podcast before, but I make a lot of decisions about yarn and buying yarn thinking, if I leave this yarn here, will I be sad about it later? And most of the time, like honestly, like 95% of my yarn shopping experience is like, no, I will not. I'm not gonna think about it later. Like it's fine, I don't care. I will say the Golden Pearls had this colorway. There was 3 skeins of Surrey alpaca. I have significant regrets about not buying. It was like a really dusty wine color, like reddish purple. It was very moody. It was gorgeous. I have regrets. I have big regrets. I feel like I've been very susceptible to like the Surrey alpaca, like fluffy, nice, yummy, squishy luxury yarn though. And I was like, oh, maybe this is too much. Maybe I shouldn't. Now I regret it. So I'm thinking about those skeins. I'm here to admit when I'm wrong and I should have bought them and I was wrong. And then the last yarn purchase that I made was actually from a booth called Two Guys Yarn Company, and I got all of these mini skeins which I think are so cute together. These were in like a random one-of-a-kind mini skeins. Like these have no home or colorway names or anything, but I just like love how they kind of all go together. I'm having a weird premonition about granny stripe leg warmers. How does that sound? Does that sound normal? Does that sound like a stupid idea? Because it sounds like something I'm just sort of craving. Like, they're so fun. It's giving me like McDonald's Playland vibes. I cannot elaborate. Here's the tags for these. Logo, again, precious and adorable. I will say these were incredibly affordable. They were $4 each. Can't beat that. They are 60 yards for each of them, and it was in their Bradgate base. So I'm pretty sure, if I'm remembering right, I'm pretty sure it was a wool nylon blend. I'm actually very sure that it's a wool nylon blend because I wanted to make sure that if I did get home and just want to use these for socks, like that it would be suitable for that. So it's just wool and nylon. There's something about like this that's happening that like I'm really in for. And again, like $4 each for like one-of-a-kind like cutie pie minis. Twist my arm. And then the last purchase I made from Vogue Knitting Live was a big purchase for sure, but it feels worthwhile. I'm hoping that you guys are gonna like pick up what I'm putting down with this, because I walked past this thing and I like stopped in my tracks and I said, you guys go ahead. I absolutely need this thing. It is very rare that I purchase like nice clothing. That sounds really bad, but honestly, like these black turtlenecks that I wear all the time, like these are Walmart turtlenecks. I tend to buy like Target yoga pants. I just don't have a lot of like very nice staple pieces that like pair well with knitted items in my wardrobe. I don't get as much wear out of knitted items as like I would love to, and I'm kind of like shoving them into my life a little more. Again, like I'm getting a little bit older. I don't care if I look like a crazy person. I don't care if like my outfits look a little more like handmade and like kind of goofy as I did in my younger years. So I've been trying to keep my eye out for good staple pieces to pair knitted items with. And it's a lot easier said than done. It's not like anything hard and fast, or like I can't just buy things that other people are wearing, because like at the end of the day, like I have my own preferences. My body type is not the same as other people's body types, and I try not to get on the trendy bandwagons or whatever. But I will say I've totally succumbed to this piece that I will show you now. I bought a big fluffy skirt to wear with sweaters. I've tried to recreate the look of it, like the silhouette, I guess I should say, of this particular skirt in the past through my own like sewing adventures and everything. It did not work out. It's very difficult. This skirt just had like the size, shape, length, fit, like it hit on all fronts, and it makes me feel like I'm a cool girl now. Like I have like cool girl knit fashion pieces. Let me back up. I bought this gorgeous skirt. I don't know if you're gonna get the full effect of it. It's stunning, beautiful print on it. I just can't get over it. It's mostly this mustardy ginger collar, and then there's pink and red. There's like these tiny little blue blips. And then there's also this black that's almost a midnight blue. I think it reads as black. It's gonna be like one of those skirts that's like whatever you put it with is like what it is. And this skirt had like just enough colors in it that it's obviously like a standout focal piece, but it also has enough variety in those colors that I think it's gonna pair really nicely with like solid color or like tonal reading like knit tops. So it's got really beautiful like finished edges on it, and then the back of the skirt has elastic in the waistband, which is like my best friend. I love elastic waistband pants and bottoms and everything. It's just like adds to the comfort level without kind of compromising on like the look of everything, and that's really nice. I bought this skirt and it's gorgeous and I love it. I'm so excited. I can't wait to really dig into my closet and see like what goes well with this. But even like this black turtleneck that I'm wearing today, I think would look so cute with this. I had brought my love note on the trip with us to New York. I was like, oh my God, the love note would look great. This is just so cute. And this brown color with the black is just so pretty. I know this seems really like wildly out of my comfort zone, and it definitely is, but it's not because I don't like it. It's just because like nothing has ever spoken to me in this way. I'm excited to see how this works into my wardrobe. Maybe I'll even be inspired to like knit something with the intentions of going with it. Who knows? Like, who knows? I don't know. But I'm ready for this like next era of my life. I'm ready for the next phase of this journey. So that was a really beautiful piece. The company name, or the group of people that make this skirt, this was Handspun Hope, and I will put their direct website link below because they sell these skirts on their website. Full disclosure, and I didn't realize this until I got home and I like looked at their website. So everything on the website is gorgeous. Their sizing of these skirts is not impressive or amazing or anything. They're like small, medium, and then medium large. I don't know like what their size situation is, if they just like aren't stocked in bigger sizes or smaller sizes, but it seems like at either end of like the bell curve, they're very lacking in like size diversity. So keep that in mind as you're shopping. I was not sure how this was gonna fit. Luckily, the elastic on the back of it, like I tried it on in the hotel room then after we got home, and it feels like the skirt was like made for me. I really like the quality of like how this skirt is put together is like stunning and gorgeous. It's 100% cotton, so it like feels nice. It feels nice and like sturdy, which I really like. That was my big like clothing purchase of the weekend, which like felt kind of nice to like add something to my wardrobe in that way. That's everything that I got from Vogue Knitting Live and just from the past month. I do want to just quickly touch on like what I'm wearing. Speaking of like new wardrobe pieces, and actually both of these like knitted objects that I'm wearing right now, I've talked about before on the podcast, but I'll put the links below. This is the spring cleaning shawl. I'm pretty sure it's the spring cleaning shawl by Stephen West. I actually didn't knit this, sock knit this, and then gave it to me after she just didn't love it as much as she thought she would. This is the 2x2 hat, which I finished recently. That one, I'll put a link to the episode up here where I talked about it. These are like staple hats, you know? Really like this pattern, and I talk about it at great length on other episodes. Those are my knitted pieces. I'm also wearing knitted socks that are a lot less interesting, but most interesting that I want to just give it its time on the podcast. I broke down and bought a linen dress. So speaking of like very obvious like knitwear, clothing, wardrobe staple pairings, obviously linen dresses have been really popular for like many years now. I finally just like broke down and bought one. I actually asked Sock what shop she had gotten her like staple linen pieces from, and I'll put the link in the description below. I did get it from an Etsy shop based in Texas, I think. Yeah, it's based in Texas in the United States. There was really fast turnaround time on it. I really like the piece that I got. Feels like it's very nice quality, looks very beautiful. I'll just stand up and kind of show it to you now. It is, the one that I got is, I'm gonna put my hands under here so you can see it. So it's like a, I think they technically call it like a V-neck, but it's like a strap black dress. It's 100% linen to my knowledge, and this is in their like black linen color. And then the bottom of it, let me try to back up here. So it's pretty long, it's like T length, it goes like below my knees, and it just buttons the entire way. Like these are functioning buttons. And you can see that I don't even know what size I got, but it is oversized. I wanted it to be like a little bigger so that I could use it as like a comfort layering piece and then be able to like throw knitted sweaters over top of it. I will put in a picture here of me in front of the hotel mirror. I actually paired this dress with my love note that I brought with me, and I've been wearing yoga pants underneath it because I don't have like good comfy like not see-through leggings, but I do have big dreams of finding black leggings that like don't hurt my tummy. That's like not really what I'm about. I'm speaking of like the next phase of my life. I'm like not interested in like pants or things that go around my waist that like squeeze me. So right now I'm just working with like yoga pants underneath it, but honestly, like the yoga pants, linen dress, long sleeve t-shirt, and like my knit socks, I've worn this outfit twice in the last like 3 days, and I feel like I want to be buried in this. I never thought that like I would be linen dress woman, but I was like sending a photo of my outfit to the group chat today, and I was like, I feel like a bog witch that got tangled up in a ball of yarn, and I love it. It just feels good, it feels comfy, it feels like I'm like stylish enough that I'm like not embarrassed to go outside, but it just like pairs so well with all these like crazy knits. It's just like so revolutionary to me, and again, like everybody's been doing it for years, and I'm like, yeah, whatever. But yeah, I just feel really inspired by it. I also got, for some weird reason, like Sock told me that she has ordered from this place twice and this has never happened to her, but I got a huge like linen envelope with all of their color samples. So let me actually like go get it and I'll be right back. I think this was an accident that they mailed it to me, and maybe this is just something that they're doing now, like since Sock has ordered her stuff a while ago. I got this envelope. It's full of every single color of linen that this company has available. It's a lot. So I just wanted to show some of these like samples because some of these colors are totally luscious. There is gray, there's some pink, there's that like cute stripey one, there's some more like earth tone colors in here, like that gold one is really pretty. This cornflower blue one back here is so gorgeous too. So I like really have to go through these actually and like take a little temperature check and see like what my next one's gonna be, because I will be ordering another one of these dresses. Oh, look at this one. Like, stop, I love that. I know this is like very #Christmas, but I love like the red with the highlighter yellow. I like see more of that color combo in my future. These are just really pretty. So again, I don't know if this is an accident or if they meant to send me all these, but it worked because I will be ordering more. That's my glowing review about this stupid linen dress that I bought. It definitely was an investment. It just seemed like something that I was ready to jump into. I do feel like, as Sock keeps telling me, like I'm in a new era of my life. Turning 30 is probably like one of the most wonderful times of my life that I can remember. It definitely is like true what people say, that you like stop caring a lot more like once you turn 30 and you're just kind of out here living your life, and I really feel that. My body hurts a little bit more every day when I wake up, but at least I care less. So yeah, that was it. You know, we had a blast at Vogue Knitting Live. Brienne and Gail and Sock have all like posted pictures on Instagram. I will throw some footage in at the end of this video. We took a lot of hilarious photos this weekend. It definitely was like, it felt like a real girls weekend. It was such a blast, and I've never had a trip like that before in my entire life. I really like don't know how to express like my love for Brienne and Gail and Sock, and it was just like a really incredible weekend. Definitely like once in a lifetime content. Maybe next episode I will get into the stash organization phase. I definitely need to. The reality of like this setup and everything is that while I'm filming, all the stuff that's usually up here is just on the ground, so you can't see it. So it's really not cute. My setup is like not ideal. The way I just sort of have everything like thrown into different bins and boxes and stuff around like my living room is like not conducive to like the creative energy, and I'm sure that it like doesn't look cute. So I really need to do something about it. Nate bought me some really gorgeous like storage, kind of like this, like not cubes, they're like rectangle with like the box inserts on them and everything, but like I'm looking at it right now on the ground. It needs to be assembled. That's like tonight's project. But Nate bought me like this really gorgeous storage system. I cannot wait to put together to try to pare down some of the way that like this is quote unquote organized, because it's not at all. So the last thing that I want to talk about today, nice for me, it may not be nice for you, the viewer, if you enjoy my project bags. So I've said on the podcast before and obviously like promoted my shop updates. I sew like small batch project bags and everything that I sell in my Etsy store. I am actually going to be discontinuing the project bag business. I have a few, like truly just a few bags cut that I'm gonna finish sewing, and I'm gonna put them in my Etsy store. But the thought is to discontinue the Etsy shop at the end of February. So if there's something in the store that you've had your eye on, you should go buy it, because it's all going at the end of February. The reality is that it's just a lot of time. It's a lot of fabric and materials that it feels like I'm purchasing for other people. I feel like I have a lot of fabric in my stash and just a lot of like extraneous, like other extra supplies on hand that take up a lot of space. I have fun making project bags, but there's something to be said for like, if I made project bags that like I really loved, they would be way too expensive to make. The fabric choices would be a lot different, and it feels like I'm just buying fabric with like other people in mind. And unfortunately, like my love of quilting that has emerged over the last year, when I'm sewing project bags, I just feel like I want to make a quilt, and when I'm making quilts I just feel guilty, like I should be making project bags. So it definitely is like an important balance of you know, balancing hobbies and like monetary investments and stuff. And also I just did my taxes for this year, and I really didn't make that much money when you factor in all the like supplies and materials that it costs to like keep a side hustle like that running. It didn't really add a lot of like monetary value to my life either. So that's pretty much it. I'm actually going to be doing like a small de-stash too with some of the materials that I have for making project bags. I'm gonna put all of that in my Etsy store as well, with like the next update of like this last couple. I have these bags over here, that's why I'm like referencing them. But I'm going to put some things, like I have like zippers and, you know, stuff like that that are part of the bag making process that I am going to be de-stashing. Maybe like a little bit of fabric. I definitely have yarn that I want to de-stash. So in the next month, like on the next episode, I will probably, at the same time as I go through my yarn stash, pull things to be listed in my Etsy store. And I would say like by the time the next episode comes out, I will have kind of, you know, small de-stash situation happening in my Etsy store, just to like kind of clear out the space. Honestly, at the end of the day, like this year would have been time for me to like increase the prices of my project bags, and I'm just so, I feel so like beaten down by the prospect of you know, all this like capitalist journey of like trying to monetize all my hobbies and everything, and I'm just like sort of over it. I don't think I'm never gonna make a project bag ever again. I just don't want to like make and sell and package and like go to the post office every day. It's like just kind of making me sleepy. If you are a fan of the project bags, or if you've bought a project bag, or if you've like posted a little cute Instagram story with like your knitting project in one of the bags, like please just know that that warms my heart. And if the bags hadn't been so successful, I may not have come to this conclusion. So it's a little bittersweet kind of on both sides of it, but I appreciate all of the like love, support that I've been getting from people with the project bags over the last like 2 years that I've been sewing them. So yeah, that's it for this episode. Thanks for hanging in as we kind of go over all this like boring stuff. I'm at the end of my DRK everyday sweater, so on the next episode, cross my fingers, I'm hoping that that's like donezo. I have like 1/4 more-ish sleeves to knit. It's looking very beautiful. It's feeling very beautiful. The fit is nice. It's great. It would be something that looks great with my linen dress, so I'm excited to share about that. But yeah, I will catch you on the next one. Thanks for hanging out. Bye.